Richard Allen has been arrested, and he was hiding in plain sight.
This is Reporter Room with Jessica Della Davies.
Whoa. Okay, we have a bunch of stuff to get into on the Richard Allen case. This was not a lone wolf actor. He had help. This was a ring of people. Let's get into it. Welcome, Reporter Room investigators. We are learning that what happened to Abby and to Libby was actually a bungled kidnapping plot, according to sources. Now, I just want to put the caveat out there that I don't have a way to independently verify these sources, but I'm going to cite Scott Reich as the source. I have always told you that I thought this was a ring, that I thought there was more than one guy using the Anthony Shots catfish account besides Keegan Kline, because that account did contact Libby. And I also want to share with you why law enforcement dug up Richard Allen's backyard. You're not going to believe what they were looking for and what they found. So unless you have been living under a rock, you know that Richard Allen got indicted for what happened to Abby and Libby on February 13th, 2017. He wrote a letter begging for lawyers. He was granted 2 defense attorneys. The initial judge recused himself, citing fear for his own safety, and a new judge, Judge Gull, came in. We also know that Keegan Kline mysteriously, but maybe not so mysteriously, had his charges reduced around the same time that Richard Allen was arrested. So let's put the pieces of this together and let's get started. So we are hearing new information that the reason the police were digging around in Richard Allen's backyard is related to a cat. Hear me out. So why would law enforcement be after this cat? Well, apparently cat hair was found on either Libby or Abby. So law enforcement wanted to see if the cat that Richard Allen had buried in his yard matched the cat hair that they recovered from either Libby or Abby. And the prosecutor in this case has been very upfront about the fact that he does not believe that Richard Allen was acting alone. And you know what? Reporter Room does not believe it either. I don't believe it. It's being reported that Richard Allen was acting with at least 2 other men as part of this ring, and this alleged plan was to actually kidnap Libby and Abby. And I want to remind everyone that Richard Allen, Keegan Kline, and Ron Logan are all innocent until proven guilty. Everything I'm sharing with you today is my opinion, and opinions are not facts, so please don't send any negativity to anyone. Let's be kind to each other. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and please give this video a thumbs up so I know that you were here. So what I'm hearing, and I'm going to ask you to accept this information with the caveat that law enforcement is not confirming this. The judge has placed a gag order on this case, so they're not able to confirm or deny anything to do with this. We are hearing that besides Keegan Kline, at least 1 and possibly 2 other guys were using that Anthony Shots catfish account. And that Keegan Kline arranged, he was the one that arranged to have Libby and Abby go to the bridge. He was posing as Anthony Shots, and it was supposed to be a kidnapping. Richard Allen was supposed to go and kidnap the girls. Supposedly, Keegan Kline was supposed to be setting the girls up for a kidnapping for this ring, and I'm watching my words here. So there are links between Keegan Kline getting his charges reduced and the search warrant that was carried out on Richard Allen's home. Keegan Kline may be cooperating with prosecutors. Sources are also saying that Keegan Kline actually did know Richard Allen and that the two of them met in Peru, Indiana, where they both lived. Now, Peru is located around 40 miles from Delphi. The source also says that both Richard and Keegan knew Ron Logan and brought Ron Logan up as a suspect in this case, and I do believe that Ron Logan may have been involved in some way. Now, Ron Logan is no longer with us. He passed away, so he will not be facing any charges, and he also does not have the ability to defend himself. But it will be interesting to see if prosecutors tie him to this case. Was he part of this ring? The reason that I think Ron Logan is involved in this is because he inserted himself into the case, but more importantly because it was on his property that Libby and Abby were found. This was not a coincidence, in my opinion. I believe that Keegan Kline, Ron Logan, and Richard Allen, and maybe some other people too, were using that Anthony Shots account. This account was set up to lure in underage girls. That's what they did with Libby and Abby. And they were supposed to be lured to the Monsoon High Bridge, and they were supposed to meet up with Anthony Shots. Richard Allen, who admitted to being there, he went there and he was supposed to grab the girls and bring them over to Ron Logan's house where they would do SA things to the girls. But something went wrong. And I don't know if Libby and Abby put up a struggle or a fight, or if Richard Allen just lost it. Moreover, law enforcement was able to retrieve text messages from, yes, Ron Logan's phone, proving that he was near the vicinity where Abby and Libby were done away with. Now, he passed away in January of 2022, so he was never named a suspect by law enforcement. But according to the source, the game plan was for Richard Allen to kidnap Libby and Abby. He was to bring them to the home of Ron Logan, where Keegan Kline would meet up with them, and they would do things that I cannot say on this platform. So something went wrong with their plan. And for reasons we do not know, Richard Allen did away with Libby and Abby and did not bring them to the home of Ron Logan until after they had passed. We're also learning that the perpetrator took souvenirs and that the souvenirs included underpants. This makes me sick, you guys. I feel sick to my stomach. Some of you have pointed out that you thought that Richard Allen was reaching for something in his pocket. We now know that a gun was retrieved from the home of Richard Allen along with knives, and also, according to the affidavit, law enforcement was able to link an unspent casing found near the girls to Richard Allen's gun. It apparently cycled through the gun, so to be clear, the casing was never fired, but it had markings on it consistent with what was owned by Richard Allen. So yet another link. So time will tell if the source of all of this information is accurate or not. Richard Allen has a trial date set for March of 2023. We know that Richard Allen's lawyers put in for a venue change because they want to make sure that their client gets a fair trial. And I think we all want that. And I just want to say that Richard Allen, Keegan Kline, and Ron Logan has passed away, but they're all innocent until proven guilty. Being that there is a change of venue, I would be very surprised if this proceeds in March of 2023. I would not be shocked to see the defense move for a change of venue, that be granted, and then there be a delay of when the case actually goes to trial. Subscribe.